Hello again, everyone, and thanks for joining us for this Friday's edition of Alaska Weather and the Weekend Outlook. I'm Dave Percy, meteorologist with the National Weather Service, and I'll be hosting today's show. Up first, no hazardous weather graphics, so there are no watches, warnings, or advisories, no flood advisories anywhere either. And so we'll just jump into the fire danger chart. A few more areas here, what we saw yesterday. Still have the area high fire danger up here over the Yukon Flats there along the Yukon and near the Porcupine River areas. Also area now of high fire danger from near Kilbrook eastward there, and also from around Tanana, and that extends on into the west side of Fairbanks, and then down here over the Copper River Basin. In fact, this area over the Copper River Basin is actually the highest of any of the areas here, almost extreme fire danger there in the valley. And that'll probably continue into tomorrow. Moving on to satellite imagery today, see a lot of sunshine actually from the Arctic coast north slope. Temperatures got quite warm this afternoon, into the mid-70s up there. At mid-afternoon, Umiat Airfield 75 degrees, and even warmer here in the Yukon Flats, 75 to 80, with Beaver recording 80 degrees at 3 p.m. And then 70s actually extending all the way back out towards Selawik. Nice day over the Seward Peninsula. Had some clouds here just west of Fairbanks, extending southward, really just non-precipitation producing clouds. And then the front down here that's pushing eastward and a little bit to the north, kind of elongated here across the southwest interior. That brought rain earlier to the Alaska Peninsula. That's tapered off currently, and that's spread up to Kodiak, and then now it's starting to taper off there, but it's pushed into southern Cook Inlet and the Kenai Peninsula areas, Seldovia Homer, back over toward Iliamna, and then a band across the southwest part of the state. A little bit of a break here, western Alaska Peninsula, the Fox Islands, and then some more moisture bringing rain and fog to the central Aleutians. They'll be tracking up to the northeast. Taking a look at the southeast coast, pretty good day today down that way. Not really a lot going on. Dry conditions with some sunshine. And you can see this band dissipating as that band of clouds pushes in toward the coast. And this one's still a fair distance off to the west. On the chart today, there's the area of rain associated with the front. About 1,300 is falling at Kodiak during the day today with that front a little bit lighter than other areas due to the southwest flow there. And again, that's pushing up to the Kenai Peninsula, where Seldovia has had 2 to 4 hundredths of an inch this afternoon by mid-afternoon. But back to the west, Pedro Bay, across the southern inlet there, they've had half an inch of rainfall today. And also Cape Noonan picked up about half an inch. Some gusty winds as well. 25 gusts 40 miles an hour here along the southwest coast, and 15 to 25 here over the interior. The Alaska Range seeing some pretty good winds as well. The western Alaska Range through the passes, gusts 40 to 45 miles an hour. Farewell had a gust of 40 miles an hour today. And then winds become more westerly and still gusting pretty good, 20 to 35 miles an hour across the Pribilof, so some rain and fog wrapping back in around the south side of that low center. And then the rain with this next system out here, which tonight will advance eastward and start to develop a little bit of a low center with it, about 1,010 millibars. Another weak low develops here and moves to just south of, just south of the Kenai Peninsula. And that will take a lot of rain up to the North Gulf Coast. Look for rain to advance northward across south central Alaska. Showers along the Alaska Range. More showers up here to the northwest. Possible thunderstorms this evening up there. And that'll kind of taper off to showers after midnight, with some thunderstorms lingering past midnight. But an area of showers and the clouds will extend all the way down to the southwest coast. Another very weak trough here, actually that low weakening in place there near Nunivak Island now. That's will keep it kind of unsettled. Less wind. Winds will diminish for the Pribilofs, but look for low clouds, fog, occasional light rain and drizzle at times. And the next system out there with a very weak frontal boundary with it, but a band of rain nonetheless. That's pushing in toward Adak. Otherwise, you'll have a short break there for Adak and Atka. Maybe some clearing. The south east here looking good. Low clouds and fog developing along the coastline there. Eastern interior stays dry and mild with lows 50s to maybe near 60. Patchy fog along the Arctic coast. And then for tomorrow, that first system kind of just washes out, pushes inland here, breaks up, and another portion of it actually gets absorbed by this next system coming up from the southwest. So this warm front looks like rain, if there's much of a break at all, will push back in to the North Gulf Coast during the day tomorrow and across Prince William Sound. Kenai Peninsula, another little tracking up toward Kodiak. Looks like a pretty wet mid and afternoon hour part of the day tomorrow for Kodiak, but the winds won't be a problem at all. Trough here along the Alaska Range, good for showers, possibly some isolated thunderstorms developing. Best chance for thunderstorm activity will be up here in the north and northwest, and possibly over toward Eagle and those areas. Otherwise, isolated showers here back toward the west coast. And that very weak trough, actually the low now weakens to a really weak system here with low clouds, fog, and drizzle anywhere from the Tuksuk Bay area across Nunivak Island. Probably improving for the Pribilofs. Just look for cloudy skies tomorrow with light winds, light northwest breeze. And another system that actually the first one coming in for the western Aleutians weakens and slides over to a position about where the one today is, maybe a little bit farther to the east, and maybe not so much rainfall with it. Otherwise, again, main low here, but only 1,010 millibars, pushes up to just southwest of Kodiak. High pressure back out here to the west, no storminess at all, and light winds for the western Bering Sea. And actually, much of the Bering Sea, you see light winds tomorrow, even the Bering Strait. No real big winds anywhere in the state coming up for tomorrow, and probably even Sunday as well. You can see with the higher pressure developing farther back out over the southwest now. West-northwest flow across the Bering Sea, and that carrying several disturbances inland here across interior Alaska. Each one of these troughs an enhancement of the shower and rainfall. This one kicking off into the Yukon during the afternoon. Another one coming in the central interior, the band of rain and showers with it. Isolated thunderstorms possible up over the eastern Brooks Range area. Look for more clouds, bare chance of showers over the northeast interior down to the 40-mile country, but temperatures will still in some areas manage to rise into the 70s. Rain, low clouds, light rain, low clouds, fog and drizzle back up here to the northwest with yet another trough. Otherwise, look for partly sunny skies under westerly flow there for Kodiak along the Alaska Peninsula Pacific side. We'll see the sunshine. North side, we'll see the low clouds and fog. Looks like a pretty good chance of rain moves into the northern southeast coast with some scattered showers down to the south. And mostly cloudy and scattered showers for Prince William Sound, south central Alaska. Lows for tonight, again, pretty mild, 50s to maybe near 60 for the lows in the northeast interior. Mid-50s all the way out toward Kotzebue, lower to mid. Same thing for the north slope. 40s for the Arctic coast. 40s out in the Bering Sea and the Aleutians. And for the highs tomorrow, back up into the 70s, maybe mid to upper to possibly near 80 again. North slope back, looks like into the lower 70s in some areas, especially to the east. Cooler back to the west. And then highs only in the 50s, 55 to 60 here over the southwest. Mid-50s Bristol Bay, on out along the Alaska Peninsula, and then into the lower 50s, eventually into the upper 40s towards Shemya. Southeast coast, not too bad, 65 to 70 down south, lower 60s up to the north. And for the high, or for the lows, mid-40s Copper River Basin up into the 40-mile country, mid-50s again, but cooler, a little cooler there for the upper Yukon Valley, and 50 to 55 all the way out toward Kotzebue, and cooler, mid to upper 40s here along the southwest coast. 50s, lower to mid for the Panhandle. Highs on Sunday, lower 70s in the northeast. 50s, lower 60s for the Panhandle.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Well, IFR here on first flying weather graphic, covering all the Bering Sea, Aleutians right up to the Alaska Peninsula. Also a band extending into the southwest coast here, into these Auckland Mountains, and IFR along the western Alaska Range, especially on the eastern slopes. VFR in the interior, and IFR right along and off the Arctic coast. Some IFR over the northern Panhandle, but VFR to the south. And then for the afternoon, this band of IFR here up to the Kenai Peninsula kind of dissipates, but still hangs on in the coast range there. Also a narrow band right off the southeast coast. Otherwise, VFR over toward the border. And the Arctic coast, central east side, mostly VFR over the north slope. I mean, this area here just barely reaching the coastline. Good VFR in the Chukchi Sea through the northwest here, Kotzebue Sound, Seward Peninsula, Norton Sound, St. Lawrence Island, VFR, widespread IFR south of there, across the Bering Sea and the Aleutians, retreating back a bit to marginal here for the Alaska Peninsula, maybe on Alaska Island, marginal VFR in the southwest, and improving conditions along the Alaska Range. For the next morning, Sunday morning, again, IFR hanging right along the Arctic coast, but looks like good VFR over the north slope, across Brooks Range down in the central interior, on it down the Yukon and Kuskokwim River valleys to the deltas, and looks like marginal VFR right along the coastline. IFR, though, again, covering the Bering Sea and the Aleutians, with IFR a little more extensive now up here along the coast range into possibly the Wrangell Mountains, westward, Kenai Peninsula, Talkeetna, maybe the Chugach, probably more likely marginal, but marginal VFR, Gulf of Alaska, IFR and marginal VFR for the Panhandle. And then for the afternoon, that retreats a little bit back to the north there, but stays IFR over toward the border, Lincoln Glacier Bay, back into the extreme southeast interior, marginal VFR all the way down to Dixon Entrance. Mostly VFR here over the eastern central interior. Again, the mountainous areas occasionally marginal. IFR right along the Arctic coast, westward through the Bering Strait, western Seward Peninsula there. And again, just covering the Bering Sea and the Aleutians and to a certain extent the Alaska Peninsula, but Kodiak there in the VFR zone, as well as looks like northeast Bristol Bay to possibly eastern Nunivak Island. Passes Anatuvik VFR, but Atigan looks like maybe some moisture will slip on up and build into possible thunderstorms in the afternoon, so go VFR becoming marginal. And for Lake Clark and Merrill, IFR improving throughout the day to marginal, and actually probably by the late morning, but rainy marginal VFR at times the entire day, and windy VFR with increasing marginal VFR, especially southern entrance. And for Isabel, looks kind of like a marginal day. Mentasta starting out VFR, trending toward marginal VFR through into the latter part of the afternoon. Tanita, marginal, and Portage, can't forget Portage, marginal VFR deteriorating to IFR possibly. And for Chilkoot and White, VFR becoming marginal throughout the afternoon. Freezing levels here, 6,000 feet southern interior, 8,000 feet to the north, 10,000 feet southern panhandle, 10,000 feet here, western Bering and the Aleutians. And icing, areas of light to isolated moderate rime icing here along the North Gulf Coast, south central Alaska with that boundary and pushing into the panhandle. Also another batch down here that's sliding northeastward, almost catching up to this band probably tomorrow evening. And that'll be about 7,000 feet. Jet stream, upper level low tomorrow shifts into Bristol Bay and 120 knot jet to the south here, but that rolls on up into the panhandle, but not quite that speed. Otherwise, pretty light flow here over the remainder of the state, except for this northerly branch at about 50 knots into the Bering Sea. 9,000 feet, low pressure, again, Bristol Bay. 20 to 30 knot winds out of the northwest for the Aleutians. 10 to 20 up over the interior from the south-southeast. 20, maybe 25 in across the panhandle. On 3,000 feet, 15 to 20 from the southwest for southeast Alaska. Light southerly drift here through the interior, maybe up to 30 knots out of the southwest along the western Arctic coast, especially around Point Hope, Cape Lisburne. Northwest 10 to 20, maybe up to 25 for the Alaska Peninsula out of the northwest. And for the turbulence, moderate shock possible, Prince William Sound, as well as eastern central Aleutians, maybe a little bumpy here in the western southwest mountains. And after the break, I'll be back with a look at the marine forecasts.
Hello, I'm a GOES-R series weather satellite orbiting 22,000 miles above Earth. I can see a lot of cool stuff from up here, and I take pictures of it with my spiffy camera that has 16 different settings. I have such good eyesight, I can see clouds, snow, smoke, smog, and ash, so I can warn you about dangerous conditions and help you avoid them. When storms are brewing, I watch them closely and help with hurricane, tornado, and flood warnings to help keep you safe. And my lightning mapper tracks lightning strikes way up in the sky, even through dark, dense clouds. I also help with search and rescue missions. I listen for distress signals from emergency beacons and tell search and rescue teams just where to find people who need help. But even when I'm keeping a close eye on Earth, I'm monitoring weather out here in space, too. I watch the sun for big bursts of energy, which send waves of radiation toward Earth that can affect power grids, block communication with planes, cause errors in GPS, and damage satellites. Space weather is also very dangerous for astronauts working outside the International Space Station. I warn them so they can get inside where they'll be safe. So the next time you watch a weather report or check your phone for the forecast, remember, that's me. So look to the sky and wave. I'll be here. Whoa! Things are looking pretty bad down there. But don't worry. I'm going to give weather forecasters a heads up and help you stay safe. I'm a GOES-R series weather satellite, and one of my jobs is to keep an eye on Earth's weather as I orbit above. But I'm 22,000 miles above Earth. How does your local weather forecaster know what I see all the way up here? First, I have to figure out what's going on. I point my special camera at the Earth and take pictures of the clouds I see below. My pictures show where the clouds are, but I also take lots of other notes about the clouds. For example, how high they reach into the atmosphere, how much rain they might cause, and when a severe storm may be forming. But I can't keep all of this information to myself. I have to share it with weather forecasters down on Earth. A big antenna is waiting for my call. Since I'm a satellite, I send my pictures and notes in a computer language of ones and zeros. Luckily, the antenna speaks my language. Computers connected to the antenna organize my notes and combine all of the pictures and cloud information and translate them into weather maps. They send a version of the maps back up to me. I'll hold on to these for later. Another copy of the maps is split into smaller pieces. This helps the maps move faster from one place to another. The map pieces are then sent for processing before being sent back up in the sky to a communication satellite. From there, the maps are picked up by antennas at the National Weather Service forecast offices in each region. There are more than 100 offices. I also take the maps that I received and send them out to companies that specialize in making the maps more colorful and better for viewing on TVs and computers. The colorful maps and the maps from the forecast offices then go to your local weather forecaster. The forecaster combines the information from these maps with lots of other information, like model forecast data and radar data, to make predictions about the upcoming weather in your area. And that's how I help you find out if bad weather is going to ruin your afternoon plans. You're welcome. Soon it will be my time to shine in outer space. I'm the GOES-R satellite. That stands for Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellite. And the R stands for my order in this series of weather satellites. Like my older siblings before me, I'll do a lot for watching weather, but I'm pretty special because I have a lot of new gadgets. I'm originally from Colorado, but my journey to space has a few stops along the way. I'll be shipped in a very special satellite shipping container to Kennedy Space Center. Moving me around is not easy. I'm over 18 feet wide and weigh 6,000 pounds. And then things get really exciting. I get loaded onto an Atlas V541 launch vehicle. A big rocket! Woo! After Atlas and I blast off together, my compartment separates from the launch vehicle and I continue to climb higher and higher. Then I break away completely and unfurl my solar panel and antenna. After that, I have to use my thrusters to get into just the right position, 22,000 miles above the ground and traveling 1.9 miles per second to keep up with Earth's rotation. And then I can officially start my job along with my fellow GOES sisters, where I take advanced pictures for more accurate weather forecasts, map lightning in real time, and improve the monitoring of the sun's activity. It's going to be so awesome! I can't wait!
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Today's sea ice analysis showing not much noticeable change from yesterday. The ice edge right through here expected to retreat back over the next 4 or 5 days, anywhere from 15 to 20 nautical miles with help of some southerly winds. Otherwise, you can see starting to break up a little bit up through here, and that's about it. For the coastal water forecast, south to southwest, 10 to 15 here on the south coast, picking up to 20 knots on the north coast, and the extreme north coast there, southeast 25, small craft advisories there, and also small craft advisories for northern Lynn Canal tomorrow afternoon, 25 knots from the south, 10 from the south for Stevens Passage, Clarence Strait northwest at 10. Outlook for Sunday, swing it around to the south, pick it up to 20 knots for Clarence Strait, southeast 25, so small craft advisories for Stevens Passage, south 30 knots, edging up toward gale force, but not quite reaching that for Lynn Canal, and small craft advisories, south winds 25 knots for much of the coastline, a little lighter down south and more southwesterly. Prince William Sound, east 25 tomorrow, 6-foot seas, and east winds here for the North Gulf Coast, lost an arrow, but it's all easterly through there, diminishing to 15 there for the western North Gulf Coast, Barren Islands, southwest at 15, and south of the Forelands through Kamishak Bay, north winds 20 knots, 4 to 5 foot seas, northeast at 20, north of the Forelands. And then for northern Cook Inlet on Sunday, turn it around to the southwest at 15. Actually, all of Cook Inlet, southwest 15, 4 foot seas, small craft advisories for Kamishak Bay, west at 25, west 20 for the Barren Islands, northwest 15, western North Gulf Coast, east side here, northeast at about 20, and the winds lower up for Sunday for Prince William Sound, 15 knots, and seas coming down to 3 feet. Kodiak Island, southwest, 15 to 20 knots, and then from Sitkinak to Cape Sarachef, we've got small craft advisories for south to southwest winds at 25 with 10-foot seas, lighter here in the Bering Sea side of the peninsula, northwest of 15, north 15 for Bristol Bay. And then for Sunday, west 15 there for the bay, next ends all the way down to Cape Sarachef, and then west winds here 10 to 15 from Cape Sarachef up to Sitkinak, west 20 east side of Kodiak, southwest 20 for Shelikof Strait with 5-foot seas, 8 feet there, so still small craft advisories here for that zone in east of Kodiak. And then for the Fox Islands tomorrow, especially on Alaska Island, west 20 knots, otherwise 15 to 20, seas up to 9 feet. And southwest on the light side, 15, 4 to 7 foot seas, Adak and Atka. And southwest become north toward Chimianatu, west of Kiska Island with 7-foot seas. And then those become south at 20 the next day for Sunday, lighter in through areas from, again, Kiska Island or Amchitka over toward Adak, but really not much change here, northwest 10 to 15. Turn west-northwest 10 to 15 across the eastern Aleutians with those seas now only running 3 to 6 feet. And for the southwest coast, southwest 10 to 20 knots tomorrow. Strongest south of Nunivak Island, where seas will be as high up to 8 feet. And west 15 there for the Pribilofs, north 15, St. Matthew Island, northerlies at 10 for St. Lawrence Island, and south 10 for Norton Sound. For Sunday, southwest 20 knots, Norton Sound, St. Lawrence Island, pretty uniform wind pattern there. Westerlies 15 to 25 here, mostly 15 to 20 along the coast. 25 knots, St. Matthew Island, back down to 15 for the Pribilofs with seas 4 feet, but up to 8 feet here for St. Matthew Island, and as high as 5 feet north of Nunivak Island. And for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast, east-southeast 15, southwest 15 in the central coast, increase from about Point Leon down to 20 knots to Cape Thompson to Wales, west at 10. Outlook for Sunday, south 20 from Wales up to Cape Thompson, northeast 15 here, Cape Thompson to Cape Beaufort, west side of the coast there, 10 out of the north. Otherwise, pretty light winds, west-northwest 5 to 15 for the central and eastern Beaufort Sea coast. For tonight, thunderstorms lingering, otherwise kind of a scattered shower condition near this trough in the northwest. Dry and mild in the east there in the north slope. Maybe some patchy fog showing up along the Arctic coast. Rain continues to spread northward here with this system. This one tracks eastward, brings more rain in the Alaska Peninsula, which will move to about this position as the former one dissipates and breaks up. Showers along this trough, western part of the state. Isolated thunderstorms mostly up to the north, even the north slope, possibly out toward the Arctic coast. Weakening trough here, low clouds, fog, light rain, drizzle. And then for Sunday, we'll see that system moves northeast and weakens with rain for the eastern North Gulf Coast, showers to the Panhandle.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.